A very good evening and thanks for clicking on to the Friday edition of Vogan's European Outlook. Before we get to the video, please like, share and subscribe. I do appreciate it, of course, and your support. We do have this continuation of north-west to southeast divide in the overall conditions. Heat and humidity has been gradually building over the last 24 to 36 hours, and it should peak probably tomorrow in most of the UK, but down in the southeast corner, we could see even warmer temperatures actually on Sunday afternoon as we get a rather active cold front moving from west to east across the UK. Actually, one of the more potent fronts we've seen in a very long time. Next week, it looks as if we could have a sub 995 millibar area of low pressure that is going to influence our weather. Wind and rain and much fresher conditions looks to be in the offing as we press towards the final days of June and begin the month of July. So currently it is rather warm out there actually across most of Europe. In fact, we had some very hot conditions across Central Europe yesterday. Temperatures have trimmed back quite considerably here, but look at these temperatures down into the Balkan region, widespread 30s in on offer. So very, very hot conditions, the warmest of the year so far, without a doubt. Here, we're also talking about temperatures approaching the 40 Celsius mark in parts of Spain also, and mid-20s in the southern portions of Scandinavia, as you can see. Looking at the current temperatures for the UK and Ireland as of 10 past 5 in the evening, we've got nearly mid-20s here across the north of Scotland, fresher elsewhere across Scotland, and as you can see here, as we press towards the Midlands and particularly so towards the southeast, East Anglia, we've got mid to high 20s at the moment. And it looks as if, over the course of tomorrow, we should see temperatures possibly 28, 29 Celsius across the southeast corner. These are the temperatures for tomorrow afternoon, according to the UK Met model. And we do have temperatures into the low 20s once again across parts of, particularly the northeast. We could see mid 20s, in fact, in parts of Aberdeenshire, possibly parts of Caithness and Sutherland also, with the help of freshening southwesterly winds. We've also got mid 20s in Northern Ireland, low to mid 20s in the Republic, and indeed we have got, of course, widespread mid to high 20s across southeastern portions of the country. Now, as we press into the day on Sunday, it looks as if we are going to actually see a decrease in temperature the further north you go, but certainly across the southeast corner, this is where temperatures could peak 32, even 33 Celsius is on some of the models. I think 32.2 is the warmest so far for 2023. It'll be interesting to see whether we can challenge that come Sunday afternoon. We did have a spell of wet weather moving from southwest to northeast over the last 24 hours or so. We've now got more weather coming in. Of course, we've got area of low pressure to the west. We've got high pressure over the near continent, hence why we've got some fairly strong southwesterly winds. We've got warm and humid air, and it's going to continue to become even more humid as we press through the course of the weekend. And it's all thanks to this upper level setup, of course. So strong area of high pressure over France, as you can see here, and we are seeing that influence of high pressure and heat across the southeastern corner. A lot of high level cloud over the course of today, so the sunshine has been somewhat filtered, but nonetheless we've still managed to see upper 20s, a very sticky feel, probably actually one of the most sticky feeling days of the entire year so far, I think, and that will continue as we press through the course of the weekend. So as you can see here off the GFS, this is off weather charts, of course, and we've got the showery rain, longer spells of rain, exiting Northern Ireland through the course of later this afternoon, up into the British Isles, the northern half of the UK, fine and dry largely across the south, but again that high level cloud becoming fairly stubborn to clear. Then as we press through the course of Saturday, we've got more shower activity moving in from the west, of course, area of low pressure that is going to start to activate a frontal system, a cold front. And of course, when it engages with the hot, humid air over the land, of course, that enhances convection, it enhances the rainfall rate and whatnot. And it looks as if as we press through the course of Saturday, that frontal system will move from west to east across the UK, bringing embedded showers, thunderstorms, possible issues with travel because that rainfall will probably pack quite a punch, I think, with a lot of energy with that front getting activated, of course. So the heat and humidity acting as a fuel as that frontal system then moves in. It then activates and becomes quite a potent front. We could see some lines of very heavy rainfall associated with this. Once that pushes through, that will can essentially clean out the atmosphere to a fairly decent extent, especially across more northern areas of the UK as we push later into the day on Sunday. So quite a disturbed day, especially on Sunday, across most of the UK, with the exceptions of potentially the south, the far south and southeast may escape a lot of this weather. But you notice something, as that feature then moves through, it completely recasts the atmosphere above us, and we all of a sudden, instead of having winds coming in from a southerly direction, we've actually got our air mass coming in directly off the Atlantic. Now, of course, with very warm waters, that air mass is not overly cold, but certainly it will kind of have a fresher feel, that's for sure, and a very different overall setup now. That has changed the equation of the setup here. Look at this here. This is Tuesday of next week. 986 millibar low, 982, 978. Look at how that area of low pressure is deepening off the UK. So therefore we could be talking about gales across western areas, northwestern areas, fresher conditions, a frontal system moving through, bringing more spells of rain. And this is quite an interesting end game to the month of June, that's for sure, considering that we were, a couple of days ago talking about potentially the warmest June on record. This type of setup to end the month of June could, instead of it being the warmest June, maybe within the top 5 warmest Junes on record. It just depends on how the figures add up. Certainly over the next couple of days, nighttime temperatures are going to be very, very warm indeed. We could actually see widely one of the warmest nights of the year so far across the board. Cloud cover, showery outbreaks of rain. The air mass is packed with humid, sticky air, and of course you don't get the same type of cooling during the overnight period when you have that very moist, sticky air mass in place. But essentially this cold front Saturday night into Sunday will certainly clean out the atmosphere to an extent. Then we're in that westerly regime, and then we're having to keep our eyes closely fixed on these areas of low pressure that are deepening just to the northwest of the UK, going to bring spells of unsettled weather across the board and across the UK here. So look at this here, very different chart to what we've seen, of course, in recent days, weeks, months even. So certainly very interesting stuff indeed. Let's have a look actually at the 850 temperatures, and you can see here the type of air mass we're dealing with. 850 temperatures are always a good indicator as to what kind of air mass you're dealing with. So look at all the heat across Spain, Portugal, area of low pressure to the west. Of course, that then opens the door to that warm, humid air lifting up all the way up through Ireland and the UK. We've got some of these 850 temperatures knocking the door 15 Celsius. So we've got this very warm, juicy air tonight. Tomorrow night in particular, I think, we could see temperatures stuck 16, 17 Celsius, even across northern portions of the UK, Ireland, Northern Ireland. And then what happens is, while we build the heat, temperatures into the low 40s in parts of southern Iberia, as that cold front then swings through, look at the air mass. We clean the air mass out, we wipe out that warm, humid feel, and of course then we are in a different setup altogether. Then these areas of low pressure then move through. We get these little lifts in the heat and humidity again. We start to warm the column up once again. But then that deep area of low pressure to the north swings a cold front through, and then we're back in the chilly, not chilly, but less hot and humid, shall we say. That's probably the best way to put it. And then if you notice here, as we continue to play through the loop, it gets rather interesting. Areas of low pressure actually more penetrate further in towards the continent here. And of course, when you get these relatively deep areas of low pressure moving east, you then open the door to northerly winds. And look at this here. Look at what we're seeing off the GFS. Isn't that very interesting? Look at the contrast here, by the way. Look at these 850 temperatures over northwest Africa. What's that? 35 Celsius at 850 over parts of eastern Morocco, Algeria. Surface temperatures possibly pushing the 50s, close to it anyway. Even up in the southern portions of Spain, we could see temperatures well into the low 40s, possibly even pushing the mid 40s. While we've got 850s at 0 Celsius coming into the northern half of the British Isles. But of course, this is a long way out. Thursday of the 6th of July. This is obviously just an outlier, just showing you the raw model data, of course. But certainly that would be a very fascinating situation if that was to occur. But one thing I am pretty clear about here, folks, is we are seeing a big change in the overall pattern. Now, if you look at the GFS ensemble, this is the upcoming 5-day period, and you can see here there's a trough to the northwest, the ridge still largely dominating over the next 5 days, especially across the southeastern half of the country. But then get to the 6 to 10 day, and you can see here that the trough becomes the dominant player. This takes us out to the period 28th of June through the 3rd of July. And then even the 11 to 15, notice here that we have a trough to the north, and we don't really have much of a signal over Western Europe period between the 3rd and the 8th of July. Looking at precipitation here, upcoming 5 days, and we have got an anomaly. This is upcoming 7 days, in fact. Quite a bit wetter compared to normal across the north of the UK, Northern Ireland, the northern portion of Ireland, also drier across the south of the UK, of course. And as we play through the loop here, you can continue to see that wetter conditions across the north extending well into the start of July. Then it looks as if the GFS ensemble tries to have something a little bit drier towards the middle portion of the month. So, but certainly a lot of things to keep our attention on. Keep it right here on my YouTube channel. Of course, I do appreciate your support. Please like, share, and indeed, if you haven't already done so, do indeed hit that subscribe button. I will be touching on winter, possibly into the beginning of next week, talking about my very, very early thoughts on what I might be swaying towards. So another reason to stick around. I'm also, of course, taking tomorrow off. I always take a Saturday off at the moment, just to kind of get a little bit of a breather for myself, because I think 6 days of content is plenty. And of course, bearing in mind I do work night shift also, so I'm sure you appreciate the fact that if I take the Saturday off, it just gives me a little bit of a chance just to, even just simple things like, chilling out a wee bit, have to get groceries for the house and whatnot. So life doesn't necessarily stop, even though I'm not doing a video, of course. And indeed, do check out this upcoming Sunday, 47th edition of the Global Weather and Climate Report. Lots of things going on globally at the moment, and I will certainly try my best to cover as much as I can with regards to what's going on around the planet. So stay tuned for the Global Weather and Climate Report this Sunday, and enjoy your Friday evening. I'll see you again on Sunday with the Global Weather and Climate Report. Bye for now.